You Malay you Muslim and I don't want you to treat me, I don't want you to come to me. Even without the hijab, certain races already face that kind of stereotypes. So to me, why not we just start now?
Hi, my name is Liana. I'm 26 years old. I currently work as a nurse for about 6 years.
Hi everyone, my name is Amalina. I work as a global intelligence analyst at the private sector, and I'm a freelance religious speaker.
Hi, I'm Zahratul Rafika. I'm 27 years old and I'm a lecturer in one of our Malay Muslim organisation.
Hi, I'm Sainul and I'm 19 years old and I'm currently a year 1 nursing student.
Hi, my name is Ayuni. I'm 21 years old. I'm currently working at a clinic as a clinic assistant.
When did you start wearing the tudung and what does it mean to you?
I started wearing the tudung when I was 17. What actually made me want to wear the tudung is actually first due to my religious belief. As the years gone by, wearing it due to religious belief, it also created an identity for me.
For myself, I've been wearing it since I was really very young. It started with just my mom occasionally just having me wear the hijab. I definitely grew up with it. I can't even imagine living it without it.
I've been wearing the tudung in public since I was 4 years old. Hijab for me is an act of worship. It's a manifestation or an expression of faith towards Allah, towards my God.
I started wearing hijab permanently when I was about Sec 2. Just like how people wear tattoos, to express themselves, I feel like this is how I express my own religion.
For me, it's a different case than them. I started wearing when I was 17, which was 4 years ago. And my family, we don't practice, but it was voluntary.
Has your lived experience changed after choosing to wear the tudung?
For me, I experienced a lot after madrasah when I chose to pursue local university. I guess that was the time where reality sort of sets upon me, where I get really odd stares, it's difficult to make friends. No one wants to, be group mates with you. I think it takes a lot, you always have to be the first person making the move, just to socialize.
When I was a young girl, our social media then was the playground. A group of teenagers, they would actually come to me and they say, "Oh, do you want to play with us?" And I was really happy at that point of time. I was really happy at that point of time that I was included, but they were whispering within themselves and looking at me from top to bottom, and they called me names like pig or dirty. So that affected me hugely as a child, and also during my secondary school years where I was from madrasah, so we were wearing uniform. When I entered the MRT cabin, there was this group of secondary school boys. They were talking loudly. When I stepped in, after a few moments, one of the boys actually asked loudly to his group, "Hey, why Muslims, they don't eat pork but they are still fat?" I was really shocked at that point of time because I was the only Muslim-looking person in that cabin and I was the plus-size person, so obviously he was referring to me. I couldn't coin a term towards what happened to me. Is it Islamophobic? Is it racism? Is it body shaming?
I'm actually grateful for the generation I'm living in, Gen Z, because a lot of them are accepting of a lot of different kind of things. Even if they don't know or they don't understand or they just can't get it, they'll just say, "I get it, I understand, yeah, you just do your thing." They are also considered, like my friends will say, my first Muslim friend, right? So now wherever I have to go, I have to check for halal places for you. I find it cute because they're considerate.
Since secondary school, I'm a very extroverted person. I like to go up on stage, talk to people, to talk to an audience, becoming an MC. But ever since I started wearing, people believe that I have to behave a certain way. So even at my last workplace, I did have a few instances where non-Muslims came up to me. They would be asking me, "Why you wear hijab? But you talk like this. Why you talk like that? You might as well just remove your tudung lah."
I think echoing from what she has said regarding the extroverted personality, I love dancing, I love acting. For us to actually break the stereotype, I think one has to lead in doing so. I actually joined the dance competition back when I was in poly, and I was actually one of the choreographers. So like not many actually expected that out from me itself. I love the look on their face when I'm like, oh, okay, she's a choreographer. So that's when people are more open to get to know me. They don't doubt my capabilities.
People see hijab as like being too restrictive, too
Religious.
too religious, yes, too
That
religious,
word,
too
yes.
conservative, and I guess someone that has so many do's and don'ts that it's difficult to accommodate or to be friends with. With that idea, I think for most of the part, unfortunately, we are then being reduced to just what people think or what they think they know about hijab or Islam, and I think it creates this invisible barrier with regards to social mixing, with socializing with friends of other faith and other religion.
Do you think these concerns from the government are valid?
I think those points are to an extent valid, because if you were to backdate many years during our grandparents' generation, where racial religious riots do actually happen. One of the reasons also that I've actually heard initially they didn't allow wearing the tudung in the healthcare government sector was due to infection control. So meaning to say, when we are doing wound dressing, when we are wearing a tudung, like we may actually hit the patient's environment, maybe infectious. But I think that we can actually come up with a solution to undergo all these assumptions.
I feel like there's already a step that has been made by the private sector. I've already seen a nurse wearing tudung while working. She's a Muslim woman and she's doing her job just fine during this COVID period. She wears her personal protective equipment as normal and she wears a tudung inside tucked in. And I feel like it's the government sector that we have to take a step in.
I have more reactions to the second consideration, preferring perhaps having a Muslim nurse and vice versa. I think that particular action or behavior signals a larger issue, and I don't think perhaps banning the hijab would be a solution.
I have heard stories where even right now in Singapore, in the, for example, healthcare sector, they are not wearing the tudung, but still they are treated a certain way, like you Malay, you Muslim, no, I don't want you to treat me, I don't want you to come to me. Even without the hijab, certain races already face that kind of stereotypes. So to me, why not we just start now?
So as a nurse, you will have to take off your hijab, as everyone knows. So when I'm at work, I will usually take off my tudung. Likewise, when I'm off duty, then I will just wear my jacket and my tudung. So when I'm at work, it's at work. When I'm off work, it's off work. There are incidences where myself or my other colleagues, we have patients or patients' relatives asking us like, you Malay, you Chinese? These are like subtle like hints that they are like, oh, okay, they are trying to profile you as like, oh, you're a Malay, or like you're Chinese, or like you're Indian. So funny story, I have my colleague, the patient did not want her because she's actually Indian. I think when you work in this industry, you grew this thick skin. Yeah, so when the patient actually asked for another nurse, my colleague actually like, nope, I'm the only nurse here. So, you either have me or you have no nurse. So the patient actually had to like ask for help. So I think we grew tolerant about it, but at the same time, as a nurse, we do not treat patients only by their race or their religion. We treat patients as patients, we treat them as human beings. I think for patients, I think they should have the same mentality as, as us.
What I don't understand is, why can't we wear it when if it doesn't affect the work we are doing? I understand if there is any other problem that might be caused because of the hijab, like infection or anything, but then otherwise, if there's no problem regarding it, why not we wear it and accept different norms? If other communities might come up to us, right? If their request is doable and acceptable, and if it doesn't cause any like danger or like any problem, we can accept it as well, because that's what Singapore is about, right? And that's what we are proud of, and that's what we represent as a country worldwide, that we are multicultural and we are accepting of different races and cultures.
I think these kind of debates, especially in terms of those that pertain to policy, will definitely go through a lot of discussions and robust debates in Parliament, outside Parliament, and definitely consultation with a lot of community groups as well. And I think It's to also put that definitive line about hijab being granted as a right, and I think just being clear on the messaging on why and the grounds and basis of it. And I think all the other races and racial groups and religious groups will be able to understand and perhaps be more participative in terms of discussion or if there's any consideration that they have.
I think we should take a step and be more forward-thinking about it, because wearing the tudung in the government sector is actually quite a common thing in other countries. Especially in Australia, in Malaysia, in the Arabs. I have my colleagues who has worked overseas in other countries in the healthcare government sector, and they say that actually it's quite a common thing to see Muslim women don the hijab.
I think different sectors have different considerations, different job scopes, nature of jobs, like MHA agencies and the police force. They actually exercise, security and power of the state, such as arrest. To the nature of that job, the assurance of secularity and also partiality is rather paramount. Singapore being a secular state, I think they need more time to actually, do the extensive consultations again on these sectors.
It's definitely a good start that we start with healthcare with regards to, learning from other countries. And we have actually a lot of countries even trying to learn how Singapore, carry out their own policies and implementing them. But I think definitely trying to take into consideration the kind of social fabric that they have, and what we have in Singapore is very different. I think we are one of the most religiously diverse country, and I think that brings a whole lot of dynamic, and I think to tread that path carefully, I think it's just a matter of time, but the progress is something that we are always happy to see.
Do you think wearing a tudung hinders nurses in their daily job?
Working in an acute care setting, so usually nurses, we do changing of diapers. The question that comes afterward will be like, so you change for diapers that are male patients? Then I'm like, yeah. Then they will be like, oh, then how do you handle it? How I handle it is basically from the start of my nursing career, I would remember my dad said, it's all about your intentions. So you're there to just help out your patients. It's a bit sensitive when it comes to Malay Muslim uncles or like patients. Usually what I would do is ask the uncle or the pakcik, asking him like, pakcik, are you okay with me changing a diaper? Most of the time they are like, okay, boleh. Like they understand that this is just a job.
As a current nursing student myself, I'm learning about the changing of diapers and stuff. I am anxious about doing it for the male patients, not gonna lie, because I've grew up quite conservatively, and it's a sensitive issue for me. But then again, I chose this job. It's not the job chose me. I hope in these 3 years I will come out of this shyness and then be able to serve the job proper and fully, and I hope it doesn't restrict me in any way.
Apart from closed-door discussions that are being conducted, how can we better support Muslim women who struggle with these restrictions on a daily basis?
Closed-door discussions can actually contribute to insights and people people opening up, and I think it's a safe space for them to actually give their inputs, their honest inputs, and that's what we want. At the same time, I think it's about time for us to have open discussions also, and then we can see the reality. Majority of Singaporeans, do they really are accepting of tudung wearing?
Also at the same time, you should also have a discussion with the nurses who are on the ground, not only from the point from the Muslim women about their opinions about wearing the hijab, but also from the non-Muslim. Nursing is also a very diverse industry. We not only have different religions, we have different races, different nurses from other countries. We also have to take their opinions into consideration. What do they really truly feel about seeing their colleagues wearing the hijab?
Both closed and open door discussions should go, hand in hand simultaneously. They should also include nursing students as well, because I think the younger generations, this policy will also affect them, and I think they also would have their own opinion, and they deserve to have a voice in the table as well.
I think ways that we can better support Muslim women, or in general Muslim, is to educate. It's always to educate. And one vital way that we can educate is through your social media. You can actually educate people who are scrolling through Instagram stories, their feed, their Twitter feed. Yeah, so it's a very good way to actually bring out news to them. And also having a very good support systems of different races, of different religions. That actually helps, because I noticed that when I have friends of different race and religions, their words actually come into play when they are supporting me, when they are like protecting me, when there are racist remarks. They actually stand up for me. That actually brings up my morale, and like, you know, I feel very supported itself.
I think we can also start like maybe even start from secondary schools, maybe during social studies class. Yeah, so when you start from the younger generation right now is taking over. So I think in the future it'll be better.
On a personal level, I think if someone is curious about the hijab, you can just approach us and ask us, right?
Go
Yeah,
je.
you can just approach me. Just ask me what's the hijab. You know, the things that you want to know about Islam.
I think just being genuinely curious about the topic and wanting to ask is definitely something that we welcome. We'll be more than happy to share, but I think it's just perhaps maybe the tone, or when you come, you think that you want to perhaps clarify some of the things that you've heard or some of the things that you read, and I think that will be helpful instead of trying to impose, like, say for example, things that I really get a lot in university, when I say that, okay, you know, just 5 minutes, I just need to dash to like pray, and then I'll come back, and they'll be like, so how many times, you know, a day do you pray? Well, 5 times so many. Are you sure or not you must pray 5 times? But because to them, because I don't see that other Muslim friends praying 5 times a day, I felt that was really uncalled for, and I thought that I'm a person who's observing my religion. I would think that I'll be in a better position understanding the rulings and such. To put the point out there, hijab, or how, you know, a religious attire of however kind, it's part of us, but it doesn't define us entirely. We are more beyond the hijab. We have our personalities, we have our hobbies, our passion, to not just reduce it to their preconceived notions about it.
Thank you everybody for watching this video.
Let us know in the comment section below what you like about the video and what you like to see in future episodes.
And don't forget to like, share and subscribe.
Bye.